Welcome to Focus on Claims.
Hi, everyone. Ernie Bray here with another episode of Focus on Claims. And today I have Heather Goudreau of Optima SIU on, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Ernie. Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, you know what? SIU part of the industry is really important. And, it's always been. I've been in the industry for over 30 years almost now, and there's fraudsters out there trying to do things. But with the advent of AI and all this technology, it's made, I believe, this area even more important for carriers to focus on. So today we're going to talk a lot about this with Heather and what they're doing at Optima SIU. And as we start, Heather, tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, how did you get into the SIU part of the business?
So it's funny. I didn't seek out my position at all. I was a psychology major,
Mm-hmm.
master's in forensic psychology, and next thing you know, I'm just working an average job, and I found out about the opening at Optima SIU.
Uh-huh.
So took that. Started out working in the field, doing the field investigations and some desk investigations. And I was only supposed to be here for a little while, kind of learn what I need to learn and move on. But with this industry, just so busy and all the new trends, we became so busy that I needed to stay on full time as a desk investigator. So
So,
that's
so,
how I got in.
so you said that's how you got in. And I look at my career in the business. I went to college and got my degree, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And you never think, "Wow, I'm going to end up in the insurance industry." And for yourself, you're just like, "Hey, this is
Yeah.
supposed to be just a part time or a stopping
Yeah.
point for you, right?"
Hmm.
And then now
Absolutely.
you're out there. Now you're out there doing, photos and going out in the field. What was it like? Like, what were some of the things you did when you were out in the field?
Yeah, so when I first started in the field, a lot of our clients had the commercial auto policies. So I had to get the statements and the photos for all of the drivers, the witnesses,
Hmm.
passengers involved in accidents with like livery vehicles, tractor trailers, the box trucks. So that's primarily what I did. I would go into five boroughs. That's where I worked in some of New Jersey,
Hmm.
and you know, coordinated with our drivers, and I had to take pictures of the damage on their vehicles. We had to locate witnesses, sometimes serve subpoenas upon some parties. So that took up a lot of my first few years
Did
at
you do a lot of
Optima.
did you do a lot of photos like on for injury cases or like things that appear to be fraud, or how did that work?
Oh yeah, yeah. So because we handle all lines, we have the
Hmm.
property auto, commercial auto, even GL. I did come across a lot of slip and falls, even injuries from the auto accidents. So
Hmm.
having to photograph somebody's injury, it's very personal, and it's weird, and it's a little gory to look at sometimes, but I did it.
So when you were starting out and you were going through this process, you had to obviously get training on this and about being detailed oriented. That's one thing I think super important adjusters need to know, and anybody in the industry is being very detail oriented. Did you have a way that you worked that you had to like a procedure that you went through to document things?
Yeah, so I always took advantage of the webinars and seminars, like in-person seminars that offer different courses.
Hmm.
So having that training really benefited me, but also having um, that hands-on, in-person statements. And I did it when it was still a written statement. So you had the carbon copied.
Right.
Now everything's recorded, but having that in-person interview really it like paved the way of the type of investigator I became. I was very inquisitive, and I was trying to figure out what happened, get all of the facts. So, that transferred to when I became a more, behind
Hmm.
the desk investigator.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at a file now and I have to assign it to my local field investigator, I know what I want asked because I was the person asking it. I know every angle that I want to figure out of how the accident happened.
I agree with you. And when I started in the insurance as an adjuster, these were the days where people would come and sit at my desk. I worked in a district office where they would come in. I'd have these little cars on the desk,
Mhm.
and they would actually kind of recreate. Okay, this is what I was happening. I was backing out, and I got hit here, and make the liability decisions. But I think that face to face contact early on in my career, and it sounds like it's the same in your career,
Mhm.
really helps you learn how to communicate with people. You
Mhm.
have to be able to, analyze the situation and communicate. In today's world, where a lot of stuff is done through digital communications, texts, emails, I think there's something lost, and that training, I'm sure, really, I think you probably, it sounds like it paid off for you too.
Oh, absolutely. You know, a lot of times, the technology, it does help us,
Hmm.
but there is a lot that is lost when, you're taking a statement over the phone.
Hmm.
I took one of my very first classes when I worked at Optima was an interviewing and interrogation class.
Wow.
And you just learned how, when you're sitting across from the person that you're interviewing, you learn the body movements, and that helps when you're interviewing somebody
Hmm.
because you have to comment on their responses, and sometimes their credibility is based on how they're responding, how they're acting, and it's very easy to just withhold the truth or lie when someone's over the phone with you. But if you're sitting there and really pressing them, just for the information, sometimes people do crack under pressure because they feel like they're being interrogated.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
you get the details.
That's interesting. When I
Hmm.
was at the insurance company, we had SIU investigators that used to work for the carriers I worked for, and I mean a lot of them were like retired former police officers and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And a crazy story that I had, I remember I was coming in from as a field appraiser one time. I guess they were doing sort of an in-person statement like that,
Hmm.
and one of my fellow employees came out. Hey, did you see what just happened? These two people came running out of the office, and I guess they were trying to get them. They were running away because I guess they cracked under just the interview and said, they
Hmm.
just took off running. So
Oh,
that whole
yeah.
SIU thing has always been kind of a mystery to me, and it's
Hmm.
interesting to hear a little bit about this side. What do you think about the era we're in right now, where a lot of times carriers are just sort of having an owner send photographs back or try to document the damage by having somebody send it in?
Well, the in-person is always so much better. I mean, not only do you have a professional doing the service for you, they know exactly what to look for. Sometimes, if you're relying on your insured to take photos of all the damage at all the right angles, and sometimes if you even have to get under the hood or get under the
Hmm.
vehicle, it how are they going to do that? They don't know exactly what to do. And I've even seen it where photos are completely left out because they don't know how to access that area of the car, or even forgetting to photograph the VIN. So,
Hmm.
we're relying on that because it's quick and easy, and an easy submission on all the the carriers have apps now. But there's something really to be said for getting an adjuster out there, taking a look at the car, and giving you a professional report. That's what's going to help the claims adjuster the best when processing the claim.
Yeah, I think it goes a long way to getting accuracy and also like preventing fraud, which can be
Oh, yeah.
pervasive out there. So tell me, I saw that now you're part of the Global Guardian family. How's that gone?
Yep. Being part of the Global Guardian family has really been a great transition for us. We've had a global reach, and now I feel like our reach with them is even larger. We're nationwide, and they offer a full risk management solution for
Hmm.
their clients. So now that we have access to their services, and now we are the full service SIU, we're providing all of our customers and clients with this whole entire suite of services that we as Optima SIU did
Hmm.
not have before. So
Wow,
it's been really good for us because we're already seeing new work come our way, and who
that's
doesn't
exciting.
love new work?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exciting. So
Yeah.
now when you talked about the services, can you break down some of the things that you offer?
Sure. So we do any of the regular desk investigation services, such as your background searches, assets. We do DMV searches, social media,
Mhm.
and then the field work, which is, your surveillance, statements, scene photos. We do all of that as well.
Okay. So I also know you do like the fraud training,
Mhm.
right? And tell me
Yep.
a little bit about why that's important, for insurance carriers. I know some of it's mandated,
Mhm.
but what are some of the benefits that carriers can get from that?
Yeah, so the good thing about being able to provide a full service SIU
Mhm.
to our clients is, you know, we take care of their investigations, whether it's, fraud or non-fraud. But there's a whole nother aspect of the training and compliance end of it. So there are firms out there that do offer SIU services, but they're not full service. So, we're taking care of these specialized training topics that need to be included with
Mhm.
the fraud training. We're making sure our clients are staying in compliance. There's state mandated reports, annual reports, fraud plans, and then the actual fraud reporting that needs to be done. We handle all of that, and it's all done on time. Because there's timelines for the mandatory
Right.
reporting to the states. So, yeah, we take care of all of that. And with the training, not only do we customize it to what our clients need, on a range of
Mhm.
topics, we also track their progress. So again, we're making sure that our clients are staying in compliance because, you know, we handle the audits too for our
Yep.
clients. So if we ever have to undergo an audit, we can ensure that we kept track of all the employee training requirements and that they were completed on time.
Now, the training that the adjusters go through, I think it's really important because a lot of times the adjusters, they may be working their day-to-day job. They're just trying to process the
Mhm.
claim and get it through and try to get that file handled.
Mhm.
But I think there's a lot of times there's red flag indicators, I think we used to call them, or things
Mhm.
like that. Does the training really kind of, would you say, give a beginning adjuster or somebody, even that's been around, a reminder of those key things that sometimes they forget about?
Oh, absolutely. You get used to just handling, your day-to-day claims, and sometimes, especially when new fraud schemes come about, you
Hmm.
forget what the main red flags are. And there are a slew of red flags for each line of business.
Hmm.
So we do provide that again, very specific to our clients' needs. But we provide that, and I mean, we used to mail laminates of red
Yeah.
flags out to our customers, but so they could keep them at their desk. But now that a lot of people are working remotely, having the training up on their system, at least they can see it there. And it is a good reminder because after someone takes training or a company takes training from us, the cases go up, within a couple weeks after it because they're reminded, what, that is considered a fraud indicator. Maybe I should send it to Optima just to have them take a look. And we do that. If you're ever curious about should this be reported to SIU, something doesn't look right, send it to us, call us because, we'll review it and give you our opinion on whether or not it should come to us for further review and investigation.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Now, as an adjuster that's maybe new to the industry, I think a lot of times
Mhm.
insurance carriers have so much they're throwing at new adjusters. They're trying to train them on how to process the claims, how to actually do their job. That layer of training, I think, is absolutely essential. So
Mhm.
it's really interesting to know that you guys offer all that.
Mhm.
Another question I had, and I think you mentioned this in the past to me, what is the reporting solutions you guys offer when it comes to like when you're doing an investigation now? Is there some reporting requirements like once an investigation's done, or how does that work?
Yes. So after the investigation, if we come to the determination that the file meets fraud bureau reporting requirements, we
Hmm.
will take care of that for our clients as well. And depending on the state, sometimes there's a direct reporting website or link that you can report to. Other
Hmm.
times, you're doing it through a different database or directly to like district attorneys or attorney generals. So it's really state specific, but we know how and where to report, no matter what state.
So that's great. So you could actually handle that for any carrier or any client and take that burden off their back, really.
Absolutely. And because we are handling the claim from start to finish, it's us. When you send an assignment to us, we are the ones that are doing the file intake and review.
Hmm.
We are going through all the material sent to us. We're providing an investigation plan and budget, and we are managing that file from start to finish. Everything that happens out in the field, we are reviewing and putting it together. That's so that if at the end of the assignment it requires to be reported to the state,
Yep.
now we have all of the information and we're putting it all together on a silver platter for the fraud bureaus. And knowing how to do that, I think really helps us because you ultimately want the fraud bureau to take a look at your case. You're trying eh, to get any type of money back or money or
Hmm.
savings for your clients. So if we give them a case that really should be investigated and the state takes it, that's
Hmm.
great. That could lead to prosecution.
That's great.
Yeah, I've had a couple where the district attorneys have picked up the case and they've gone after an insured or a claimant, and they had to pay the carrier back for what was paid out to
Wow.
them. That's a
Sounds so,
win.
so in many ways, you're an extension of the claims department for them. You're
Mhm.
like that. You're working hand in hand.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so let me ask you this: what would you say when you're when you're meeting with a client? What are a lot of carriers looking for when you're trying to work with them? What are some of the things that are key essential things that they need that you find out are kind of the key things that you offer?
Mhm. So a lot of the times, I'll say the majority of the time, they are looking for an investigation.
Mhm.
Sometimes they know exactly what they want, and
Okay.
other times they're not sure of what the investigation plan should entail. And that's where they look to us for that full assessment. And they want that plan because even working with some of these carriers
Hmm.
for years, sometimes they don't know all of the, I'll call them tools in the toolbox. They don't know all these services that we offer. And especially with new technology and new databases that we have
Hmm.
access to, they don't realize that there's many different ways we can assist them with handling the claim. So I think they look to us mostly for an investigation, but
Hmm.
in doing that, they also realize the other services that we provide. So sometimes it's a simple, hey, can we get a background search? They need to locate, current contact information or insurance information. So in reviewing our investigation plan on other cases, they learn of all the different services that we do offer for them.
What would you say though is some of the biggest takeaways you've learned in all the years you've been doing this? Things I would say maybe the lessons you've learned, biggest takeaways that you could give advice to people out there.
I would say definitely take advantage of the classes and the information that comes your way. There's a lot of um, even free advice out there. These webinars, they are great. Um, they are great recordings that you learn something new from it every time.
Mhm.
People will take a trend and they'll turn it into an hour presentation, and that sometimes helps you. Even during COVID, we had to take just webinars. I learned of new trends because of COVID. The PPP loans. We had a couple investigations into businesses that quickly formed and had zero employees, but said that they had, five employees and they received the loan. So stay on top of the trends, really take advantage of the courses provided to you, and stay in touch with colleagues. There are so many ways to stay in touch with, other people in this industry, whether it's attorneys, whether it's other claims adjusters or
Hmm.
SIU investigators, through LinkedIn. You never know when you guys can help each other. You know, you meet someone at a seminar and next thing you know what? I have to contact Liberty Mutual. I have a contact from Liberty Mutual. You're just trying to help each other out. You're all trying to fight the same fight.
Yep.
So it's good to
Now,
keep those
networking, you'd say
relationships.
networking is key. Be sure to network out
Yeah,
there then. And
absolutely.
and what advice would you give it let's say you're an adjuster that's working at an
Mhm.
insurance company, and like I took the path of going from an adjuster being an auto damage appraiser and then moved on. Somebody that wants to, if they're at the carrier right now, you'd say try to go out there and be a sponge basically and
Mhm.
absorb as much knowledge as possible then, right? If they want to
Mhm.
move into different departments.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And take advantage of the relationships you already have. There's been quite a few times where claims adjusters have called me directly and asked, how did you get into SIU? They find it so
Mhm.
interesting that they want to maybe shift gears, and it's it's fun and it's interesting because you're always trying to figure out what happened, and you're doing it in an unbiased way. You're just trying to find out the facts in order to help the claims adjuster any way that they can to resolve the claim. So people want to
There,
help.
there you go. If you have that inquisitive mind, you want to be an investigator,
Absolutely.
don't stop in your career. Always think that hey, you know what? You can learn something new, and you can always grow, and that's important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So as we're getting ready to close the episode down here, I want to talk a little bit about this generative AI or AI
Mm.
in general. What's your thoughts about it taking over? Is it overhyped, or do you think that's something that carriers need to be concerned about? I mean, I know people out there that have companies that are doing a great job right now, actually detecting like metadata,
Mhm.
changes and things on photo fraud. And so, what's your thoughts on that?
So I'm a little torn with this because I don't think it's overrated. I think it's coming very, very fast, and we're trying to keep up with it. I on one side, I think it's a great tool. Like for us, there's companies out there that if you send them an invoice, they can determine if it's a fabricated invoice.
Hmm.
That helps us, great. But on the other side of that, um, I think claimants or your fraudsters are also using it against us. So going to chat gpt and typing in one vehicle loss damage photo, you can get a completely fabricated photo of damage. And if that person was submitting that photo through an app, the claims adjuster might not realize that it is completely fabricated unless they're trying to check the metadata on it. So, AI, although I think it's really going to be able to help us in the industry, I feel like it's hurting us just as fast
Wow.
because, for every positive, there is a negative. So,
Yep. It remains
yeah,
to be seen. I can tell you, that's
it
definitely the new
does.
wild west of what's going on in this world, and I think that's why it's important for people in SIU and fraud to be
Oh, yeah.
at the top of their game on that. So,
Oh,
hey, it's been
absolutely.
great having you on today and talking about Optima and everything going on there. I
Thank you.
always like to kind of finish up. Tell me a little bit about you. What do you like to do in your free time besides the investigative world and the claims world?
Yeah. So in my free time, well, I have a daughter. She keeps me very busy. I love watching her play basketball. So we have a very busy schedule with that. But I do love shopping and decorating. I love interior design. So that's what I do on my free time.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
get away from the investigation stuff and have a little relaxation time there. So,
Yes.
well, hey, it's been great having you on today, Heather. And if how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in working with Optima SIU and they want to get a hold of you? What's the easiest way? And we'll put this at the bottom of the video as well. But how can they get a hold of you?
So you can call our office at 800-355-3225, or you can send an email to investigation@optimasiu.com.
Awesome. Well, it's great having you on today, and great hearing about, the industry, what you're doing, and some of the tips about it. I think really was exciting about the fact that, if you're out there in the insurance industry and you want to get away from being just an adjuster, there's so many opportunities out there. And this SIU side, this investigative side is really, really exciting. So thanks again for coming on, and it was great talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
This has been Focus on Claims with Ernie Bray, President and CEO of ACD.